Greetings, humans. So, this might be another controversial video of Justice that might not ever see the light of day. But if you are seeing this somehow on my channel, congratulations. I did not out of uploading this video because I have an unpopular opinion. I love survival horror games. I do. But a lot of survival horror games that I play, I don't love. And I despise being an individual. If I can be candid with you before I get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I despise being an individual on the internet a lot because there is not a lot of nuance when it comes to conversations. There's not a lot of understanding. There's either villains and heroes. I agree, I disagree. This person's evil or this person's good. And I am a producer of a lot of things on the internet. I say that as if I'm some sort of grand being. I'm trying to paint a picture here before I get into the main topic. I produce a lot of content on the internet. I'm not much of a consumer of stuff on the internet. Essentially what I'm trying to say is that I don't scroll a lot. I make tweets on Twitter, but I don't scroll on the feed. I usually try to stay away from a lot of gaming discourse, as I probably should have, which would have made me feel much more inclined to make this video instead of fearful as I currently am. But I'm really excited for this upcoming game, Silent Hill 2 Remake. I'm always excited for games that I've played in the past getting remade. I think it's a great opportunity to not only bring new eyes to a franchise that might have been stagnant, but also bring people closer to a property that a lot of people enjoy. But like most things on the internet, I'll just say this. I was earlier today, I was doing something that I have not done since 2020, and that is looked up what other people felt about a game that I am going to buy, because I'm of the mind that I don't need other people's opinions for me to generate my own. But I've definitely seen that there's a very popular opinion about this game. I'm so glad I left internet discourse so long ago. But I'll essentially try and sum up this one man's video that I saw earlier today. And he goes, Silent Hill 2 is being made by a bunch of anti-capitalistic, Marxist, lesbian, man-hating, butch feminists. I was like, okay, interesting. And what's the sad part about that is that that wasn't the only video that I saw that was feeling that way, which I can't say is shocking. I've been gaming for, holy fuck, I've been gaming for 20 years. I'm used to this type of speech from gamers at this point. But I just want to bring positive energy to just gaming, I guess, or at least to games that I'm personally interested in. Which kind of sucks, knowing that you're trying to bring, or that you want to talk positively about something that's very much negatively being spoken about right now. But you know, again, I'm never in the comment section of my videos. I never look at the views or the likes of anything that I make. So I'll make this video and I'll just chuck it up, and if people like it, which more than likely won't, it's whatever. At least I'm not silencing myself just to appease other people, I guess. I love survival horror games. I think it's a great genre. It's also a very dead genre. I think a lot of horror games today kind of suck. I'm gonna be honest with you. And the PlayStation 2, the 6th generation of consoles, yes, I am correct with that. The 6th generation of consoles had the best assortment and variety of survival horror games. You had games such as Resident Evil, such as Silent Hill, such as Clock Tower, such as what's another one? What's the one with the photos? The one with the photos. Fatal Frame. And if somebody isn't aware isn't familiar with survival horror games, these games are vastly different. You might look at them at first glance and think, oh, all these games are the same. But the thing is that they're not. You cannot go into a Resident Evil game playing it as if it's Silent Hill. You can't go into a Clock Tower game playing it like a Resident Evil game. You can't go into, I've never played Fatal Frame, but from the gameplay that I've seen of it thus far, you can't What's that other game called? Japanese studio. Shibito. Dear Lord, dear God me, what is it called, mate? I'm gonna have to look this up. The Shibito. Siren! You can't go into... These are horror games, but they are vastly different. And a lot of horror games today are just Outlast Part 2. And Outlast is a game that came out in 2012. We are in 2024. Horror games have been stagnant for 12 damn years, mate. And it's like, unless a game is playing like Outlast or Five Nights at Freddy's, there's no variety in these games. And going into that video that I saw of that man, well, actually, a lot of these games, a lot of these videos that I've seen about Silent Hill 2, a lot of them are shit. And I talked about this in my Lollipop Chainsaw video about how I stay away from gaming discourse, because a lot of people just... A lot of people are just... One thing that I've seen people talk about is how the Silent Hill 2 remake, Konami is cashing in on the Resident Evil craze of how popular the Resident Evil remakes have been. Konami is copying off of Capcom. Yeah, so you mean the exact same way Silent Hill came to be back in the 90s on the PlayStation 1? So you mean the exact same way Silent Hill was originally conceived? What are we talking about? Like, do at least a bit of modicum of research, mate. Like, going back to the Marxist feminist guy, this dude is talking about Silent Hill 2. He clearly has never played the game before. And he's talking about how this game is a staple of the 90s. Silent Hill 2? The PlayStation 2 game? The PlayStation 2, which came out in March of 2000. The 90s game? I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm sorry, I'm nitpicking, but it's like so much gaming discourse is run by people who don't even play these games, mate. It's like, what are we doing? It's a whole bunch of Twitter fingers who aren't going to play the game in the first place. I'm sorry. This shouldn't be the main. This shouldn't be 90s PlayStation 2. Are you serious, mate? Anyways. What? I am excited for Silent Hill 2 remake because I am desperately want a revival of horror games for the modern generation of consoles, the 9th generation. Horror games have not been the same since the 6th generation, since the PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, Xbox Original, and GameCube. They just haven't, mate. There have been pushes, and really the only horror game I can think of right now that's like really thriving is, again, the Outlast clones and the games whose target audience, get this, the games whose target audience are content creators whose main demographic of viewers is younger Gen Z and older Gen Alpha, so children, to sell plushies. Think of, I don't even want to say names, But it's only Resident Evil, Outlast clones, and games for content creators to play. It's not, in my opinion, and again, my opinion should not matter. I'm a random person on the internet that has no pull on your life. If you like a certain game, that's lovely for you. If you dislike a certain game that I like, that's also lovely for you. We can all be individual people. We don't have to like or dislike the same thing, okay? But these games are just not for me. And I find myself, whenever I want to play a horror game, always going back to the 6th generation, the PlayStation 2, because that's where the variety is. That's where so many games that are just individuals, where I don't understand how people can look at Silent Hill 2 remake, see that gameplay, and of course it's gonna play like Resident Evil. It plays more so like Resident Evil 2 remake than anything, which is still a great game, mind you. And the Resident Evil remakes that are coming out now are more than likely going to play like Resident Evil 4 remake, because the Resident Evil games that are made after Resident Evil 4 are more action based, and Silent Hill has always usually been a more laid back game. And those are the horror games that I enjoyed the most. Even though Resident Evil 4 Remake was one of my favorite games of last year, I do enjoy more laid-back survival horror games. Thinking of Clock Tower, thinking of my favorite survival horror game is a game called Rule of Rose. And I really do hope that Silent Hill 2 Remake does well. I believe it will. And I hope it makes this revival of, this resurgence of classic horror games. Because right now, it's just Resident Evil. For me, it's just Resident Evil. And there's always lovely competition. We should always love competition. Competition should never be seen as an issue. A lack of competition, we get companies like Nintendo who have games out for 20 plus years and they're still selling it at full price. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pay $60 for a game that came out when I was still in my fucking dad's nutsack, mate. That's not happening. Lack of competition is where we get the PlayStation 3 being revealed in 2005, or was it 06? No, it must have been 2005. Being revealed back in 2005 for like $600 with barely any games. Lack of competition is where we get the Xbox One coming out and the head guy is all like, oh, you don't have an internet connection? Well, why don't you just stay back with the 360? Lack of competition is where we get companies being stupid, trying to make more money off of you, off of us. My camera's about to die. Am I gonna come back for another part? You know what? I will, because I have not finished my main topics. So a cut and I'll be back. I am currently looking forward to Silent Hill 2 Remake because I love games. I love horror games, and I actually play the games that I talk about on Twitter. But there are also things that I am not too fond of. I also, again, talked about this in my Lollipop Chainsaw video. But, you know, there is a very big history of Japanese-owned IPs being fucked with or not being the greatest when it is put in the hands of Western developers. And, of course, Silent Hill is a Japanese IP being given to this studio called Bloober Team, who is a Western studio. And I won't lie, that was kind of scary. That was the scariest thing about this game for a long time, and I was very apprehensive. That last gameplay trailer definitely sold me. I am 1000%. I had no reason to purchase a PlayStation 5, except for maybe Stellar Blade. But I haven't seen too much gameplay of that game, and I was not going to justify purchasing a whole new console just for that game. But I'm purchasing a PlayStation 5 just for Silent Hill 2 Remake. And of course, to have a PlayStation 5, finally. And I really do hope the game's good. I do. And that last gameplay trailer makes me believe that it will be a good game, and I hope that it does bring more eyes to horror games as a whole, because I enjoy games. I do. I enjoy, and not to make this up, but I enjoy games. I enjoy talking about games and not just complaining about them. I think, again, there are lots of things that I am a bit apprehensive of, again, having to do with the whole Japanese game being given to a Western developer, because again, those are notorious for not panning out well, but I have faith. I do. There's a lot more that I want to say, but again, I feel like I'm already stepping on so many toes of not going with the popular Twitter opinion or popular opinion that I've seen in these fucking YouTube videos that I've seen thus far, so I don't even want to make people even more angry. But I think Silent Hill 2 is a... Silent Hill 2 is a game... I don't really know how to end this video off. I said this in another video, but there's already a blueprint for Silent Hill 2. And the usual ways that Western developers fuck up Japanese games can't be done in this situation because there's already a blueprint. And while I have never played a Bloober Team game, I don't know, I just have faith, man. I'm never usually an optimistic person, but I am here. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that it does well. That's another thing. You gaming niggas, yo, I'm gonna end this video off with this. I had a friend. She she's a developer in Japan, and she worked on a game that all of you Twitter motherfuckers were shitting on. Oh my god, I don't even want to name the studio. I'll give you a hint. The studio, it was a game last year. A lot of y'all are so... Do y'all like games? Do y'all like video games? I don't know. I don't know. It's just the energy that I get. That's why I don't look at gaming discourse. I can form my own opinion on things, and I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to Silent Hill 2. I'm looking forward to Silent Hill 2 Remake. I really do hope it's good, and I believe that it will be good, because the original is really something, and I know how everybody feels towards Konami, but would we really feel better if Konami was developing this game, or ultra fans of it creating it? That's a question we should be asking ourselves. Again, there are some things that I'm just all like, oh, I wish they had done this differently. I wish they hadn't have done this. But again, I'm not creating the game. But I really do hope this game does well so we can see more horror games in the AAA space. Yeah. Well, it's been me, Justice, Eve, Evelyn. I'll see you lot later. Peace.